Look at this. Trump said on Truth Social this morning, "This is really bad and dangerous to our country. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. Seditious behavior from traitors. Lock them up." And then, a short time later, the president finished with this thought: seditious behavior, punishable by death.
This is so psychotic. Days after Donald Trump hosts MBS, he says Democratic veterans in Congress urging U.S. service members not to obey illegal orders are engaging in seditious behavior punishable by death. This is worse than your Rick Scott take. Yeah, he's the president. Of course it's worse. When the president says something, it's basically seen as like a decree. So yeah, everything he says of this sort automatically going to be worse than that. He says seditious behavior is punishable by death. It is. What did he say that was a lie? And what names did he name? Seditious behavior punishable by death when it's directed at the Democratic Party for saying a correct statement about how the military has an obligation to not follow illegal rules. That's the problem, because he's not talking about something that is actually seditious. I'll give you another example. Democrats have also talked about explaining to people their rights against unlawful search and seizure. And ICE considers that to be a major problem. ICE gets very mad when Democrats like AOC explain to undocumented, documented migrants, and also U.S. citizens what their rights actually are, because ICE is in violation of those people's rights and their constitutionally protected liberties. So if Trump were to turn around and say, oh, it should be illegal to tell people what their rights are against unlawful search and seizures, punishable by death, because it's, treason, that would be up on Trump's part, not on the part of people telling people what the laws are. You get what I'm saying? The Democrats aren't doing anything wrong in this circumstance. They're not actually trying to foment seditious behavior. They're just telling the military what the actual laws are, what the actual rules are. This is taught in the military. You have no obligation to follow an unlawful order. You could be court-martialed, you could be tried, but ultimately, you will not be killed or jailed indefinitely for refusing to follow an unlawful order. It's in the rules. Calling that out and informing people on this reality, on this rule itself, is not seditious behavior. If anyone is actually in violation of the rules, if anyone actually is trying to foment instability for no reason, is Donald Trump.
Speaker Johnson, the leader of the Republicans in the House, is also responding to this as well. When he was asked about the punishable by death part of the president's statement, he essentially said that the president was defining the crime of sedition. He then goes on to
Trump was just explaining what sedition is and what the punishment is for sedition. That's all he was doing. Okay, but it doesn't fit in this circumstance. He wasn't randomly bringing this up. He was very obviously bringing this up specifically towards Democrats, saying it is seditious behavior, punishable by death, to tell the military what the rules are. It's ridiculous. What is this? Another day in the greatest country on earth? Man detained by ICE. Oh, that's sad. Man detained by ICE found dead, hanging with hands and feet tied. Attorney Newsweek. Mike Johnson defends Trump's sedition attacks on Democrats. Trump reposts call for Democratic members of Congress to be hanged. Trump does not want to execute members of Congress, White House says. Incredible. What a time to be alive. Greatest country on earth. I'm so glad that this is what we're doing. Folks, let me tell you how excited, how elated I am that this is what's going on in the United States of America instead of gay-ass bridges, bro. Why would anybody want to build infrastructure? That is lame as high-speed rail, ISP bandwidth improvements. Why would you do any of that lame-ass bullshit when you could be talking about the president having a will they, won't they about executing the opposition party? Play the clip. Yeah, it's the Coca-Cola. It's the Coca-Cola clip. We have real sugar in Coke. Yeah, where are you going on that high-speed rail anyway? Your boyfriend's house to do butt stuff? Like, what are you doing, you know?
Just to be clear, does the president want to execute members of Congress?
No. Let's be clear about what the president is responding to.
Bro, every time, okay, I will say, Hong Kong is so sick. Hong Kong is so amazing. Every time I hear some coming from the TV screen, the computer screen from America, I just walk out there and I just stare off into the distance and I just bring it back. Like when I hear members of the media be like, is the president saying he wants to murder members of Congress from the opposition party? I just have to look outside and look at the port and look at all the ships out there in the periphery and just recenter myself. And it sucks because I have 2 more days of this, and then after that I have to be stuck in Los Angeles, California again. I feel like every day I wake up with a concussion. I'm pretty sure this administration is giving me brain damage. Everything is so dumb and bad. I mean, remember, this whole saga started with me in Japan. I escaped to Japan shortly after the inauguration, and it was the same exact back then, and now I have escaped to China, and it's still the same exact bullshit. if not worse. Things just keep getting worse. Think about it. It is 11/20/2025, okay? That means I left the country on January 20th, 2025. It has been 11 months of nonsense. 11 months of nonsense. Just think about that. Beginning of the year, I escaped the country during the inauguration. I was in Japan covering American bullshit. It hasn't even been a full year. 11 months of non-stop bullshit, bro. And there are 3 more years of this. Where do we go from here? Where do we go? 11 months feels like 11 years at this point. And seemingly, it's only getting worse.
That you can defy him and you can betray your oath of office. That is a very, very dangerous message, and it perhaps is punishable by law. I'm not a lawyer. I'll leave that to the Department of Justice and the Department of War to decide.
But the president has
Chris,
frequently, but Caroline, can I just follow up? The president and the vice president, for that matter, have accused the other side of encouraging political violence. Isn't that exactly what the president is doing when he says that members of...
Yeah, a bunch of Democrats say, hey, it is your responsibility to refuse to follow an unlawful order. Trump turns around and goes, hey, I don't like that because I like giving unlawful orders to the military. So I think the military should kill you. Like, this is the endless dynamic that frustrates, I assume, anyone that has a brain, right? It pisses me off that this is the consistent position of the Republicans all the time. Something that you have done, I will do tenfold, and somehow you are worse than me for doing it. I will take something that you did, and I will claim it's the most illegal thing that anyone could ever say or do, and I will then double down on the exact same thing I'm blaming you of doing. Think about it. It's the same principle behind Donald Trump being like, I never hid documents. The government came after me inappropriately. They claimed I hid classified intelligence.